Hey guys, it's Meg and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be setting up my bullet journal ready for February with a super cute Valentine's inspired theme, and let's just get into it. So as I was starting to think about what kind of theme I wanted to do for February, obviously a lot of people like a Valentine's theme for February, which I do too, but sometimes you can get a little bit stuck for ideas just thinking about hearts or pinks and reds. So of course I went over to Pinterest, which is my usual place for inspiration if I'm feeling a bit stuck, and I found a few people using the pegboard style theme, which I've used before and really love because it always looks really effective. And the idea is basically just like a pegboard slash notice board that you might have up on your wall, and you do all the little doodles to look like they're pinned up on that notice board. So that is the style I'm going for, which then made me start to think this is kind of like a high school theme. To just make it a little bit more Valentine's-y, I thought, why don't I make the theme High School Sweethearts? I thought that was just absolutely perfect because last month in January it was mine and my boyfriend's 10-year anniversary, and although we don't necessarily refer to it as such in the UK, we are technically high school sweethearts because we met at school. So I just thought this was the perfect theme. 10 years obviously a big deal, so it's nice to have it commemorated in my journal. That is very much the inspo behind this theme. I hope you guys are going to like it. I'm so happy with how it turns out, so just keep watching to the end of the video to see it all come together. But I thought this theme is also perfect because you can very much make it your own, as I like to do with all my themes. Make sure that everyone can do their little tweaks and make it perfect and personalised to them. So if you don't want it to be too Valentine's-y, you could still do this pegboard style but maybe change up some of the colours. So I'm going very much pinks and reds, and I'm adding in a few little personal touches to celebrate mine and my boyfriend's anniversary. As always, just take the bits that you like the most and use them for your own journal, or just get a little bit of inspiration and let me know down in the comments what you are going to be doing for your February bullet journal. So that is perfect timing because I just wanted to highlight the fact that I'm using a slightly darker red to shade the edges of the balloon. I wasn't quite sure whether it was going to look right. I could have maybe used another shade even darker again at the edges just to give it a bit of dimension and stuff, but ultimately it looks fine. You could fiddle with that if you were drawing it yourself, but I find adding a little bit more dimension, especially when you're using mainly one colour palette, is really useful just to add some more tones and shades to the page, and it just makes it a little bit more interesting to look at. Hopefully you can see the theme kind of coming together now. As you can see, I've added some little hearts in the background in a variety of the pink colours that I've used throughout the larger doodles. And I'm then just grabbing the light grey Crayola Super Tip to create a tiny drop shadow on all of the doodles. As I said, it's meant to look like it's hanging on the notice board, so adding the shadow just makes it look a little bit more 3D and like it is actually pegged up on the board. And that is our cover page all complete. So moving on to the first tracker, this one is going to be the habit tracker. As it is sharing the double page spread with the cover page, I wanted to make sure it was very much the same sort of style. So it's the same setup as I did on the cover page with the bunting, and I'm going to do the pegboard in the background. And then I'm using little bits of paper looking like they're pegged up on the board to be the places for the habit trackers. As usual, I'll just be doing it like a mini calendar style. Very similar to the calendar on the cover page. I'll just have the initials of the days of the week at the top, and then each of the dates of the month drawn on the mini calendars in little tiny writing, and then I'll just grab one of the colours from the colour palette to mark it off with a dot, or maybe even a little heart if I remember to do that. When you've done the habit, you just put a dot or a heart or cross it through, or however you want to do it, and that signifies that you've completed that habit for the day. Super simple, and I absolutely love drawing out habit trackers because they are such an easy design. You can kind of slot those mini calendars into any theme that you want. This month I've decided to just do 2 habits. Kind of just depends on my mood, to be honest, at the point of setting up the monthly spreads and just how things have gone the previous month. But as we're still very much the start of the year, I'm just trying to slowly build in habits, ones that we constantly need to be working on. So for me, that is going to be meditation, because that is just super important, and I definitely need the consistent reminder to do it every day. And along those same lines, taking my vitamins. So I'm just going to focus on those 2 kind of core habits that I need to work on this month. And if you feel like sharing, I would love to hear what habits you're tracking this month, so let me know down in the comments. Now let's jump back into what I'm drawing. I'm just getting to the colouring in, which is my favourite part. I love the little post-it note that I've added on here, and I just shaded over with the same colour pen to add a little bit more depth to it, because I was trying to achieve that look like when a post-it note is curling up at the end, and I've just written on it "I love you" in kind of doodly handwriting, just to make it look like a little scribbled note that somebody would have just done really quickly and stuck up on their notice board. Then I'm just going back in with the grey to add some more shadows, and I chose not to colour the little pieces of paper that I've done the habit trackers on, just so I have a little bit more freedom with choosing which colour I'm going to use to mark off the habits. But I'm super happy with how this double page spread looks, and let's move on to the mood tracker. So for the mood tracker, I really wanted it to look like it was a piece of paper ripped out of a notebook and very much doodly kind of vibes. So I made the ragged edge at the bottom to look like it's been torn out, and then done some blue lines horizontally, and then a red line at the top and down the side for the margin, trying to replicate that classic notebook paper look. And I'm also going to be using very doodly looking lettering for this one, as well as creating a cute little heart doodle kind of key up in the top left to show which colours I'll be using to colour in each of the little hearts for the daily moods. So as I said, it's just meant to look kind of doodly and scribbly, so all the hearts are slightly different sizes and shapes. Then I've just put the numbers for each of the days of the month inside the hearts. Some of them are kind of tiny, so it's a little bit difficult to see, but it gets the job done. And then I'm just finishing off by adding that classic drop shadow to try and make the paper look like it is standing off the page a little bit, and that is the mood tracker all complete. And now on to the last page of this monthly setup. In my January video last month, I included one of my weekly spreads to give you a bit of an idea of how those are going to look. And because the end of January and the start of February share a week, I included the last few days of January as a half weekly spread in the January pages, and that gives me the perfect opportunity to do a half weekly spread for these first few days of February. So I've gone back to the pegboard style like I did for that double page spread, the front cover and the habit tracker, and it is the perfect way to use this theme because you can of course peg up little pieces of paper or sticky notes as the spaces for the days of the week. So I have done exactly that. I've got one sticky note pinned up for the Thursday, one for the Friday, and a larger one to share for the weekend. And then I've also got an extra one that I'm trying to make look like graph paper, so it's a bit like it's torn out of a maths book with the blue crisscross background, and that is going to have a little graph on it for a mini sleep tracker. You'll know by now that I love adding those little trackers in wherever I can to my weekly spreads, and it also just gives you a little bit more freedom to change it up week by week, and I think they look really cute on the weekly spreads. Then I'm colouring in my little heart balloon. Don't forget to leave some little patches of white in the top corners to show that highlight, as well as contrasting with a slightly darker pen on the bottom half of the balloon, just to help give it that 3D look. And then I'm colouring everything else in as I have done on the previous pages, doing my little hearts, the paper aeroplane, colouring in the bunting, then of course adding that shadow again, and that is my first half weekly spread all complete. And that is my bullet journal all set up, ready to go for February in my high school sweethearts theme. Super cute, and I'm loving how it looks. Really hope you guys enjoyed watching me set this one up. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when I next upload. And I'll see you in the next one.